Living with diabetes is not just about taking medications or keeping an eye on your meals. It's about creating a lifestyle that supports your health around the clock. One of the most overlooked times of the day is the period right after lunch. Many diabetics think that once they've had a balanced plate of food and calculated their carbs, the hard work is done. But doctors emphasize that this is only half the story. What you do after eating can either help your body manage glucose smoothly or sabotage all the effort you put into meal planning. Before we continue, I'd like to tell you about Diacelan, a powerful blend of 13 natural ingredients, each carefully selected for their proven ability to support healthy blood sugar levels, enhance insulin sensitivity, and promote overall wellness. You can read more on diacelan.com. Lunch falls right in the middle of the day when most people are working, studying, or running errands, which makes it especially important because your energy and blood sugar levels directly affect your productivity and mood. A poor choice after lunch can lead to fatigue, headaches, irritability, and dangerous spikes or crashes in glucose that last into the evening. Over time, repeating harmful habits after meals can contribute to serious complications such as cardiovascular disease, nerve damage, and poor insulin sensitivity. That's why doctors repeatedly stress avoiding certain common post-lunch behaviors. They may seem harmless, but for diabetics, they can be very risky. One of the first mistakes many people make is lying down or napping right after eating. After a good meal, it's natural to feel a little drowsy, and the temptation to lie on the couch or close your eyes for a quick nap is strong. But doctors strongly warn against this because lying flat slows digestion. When your body's horizontal, food doesn't move efficiently through your digestive tract, which means glucose from the meal is absorbed more slowly and unevenly. This often results in unpredictable sugar spikes later in the afternoon, leaving you feeling even more tired than before. In addition, lying down after a meal can increase the risk of acid reflux and indigestion, both of which are already common in people with diabetes. Over time, making post-meal naps a habit can contribute to weight gain, worsen insulin resistance, and make your overall blood sugar management more complicated. Instead of lying down, experts suggest staying upright and engaging in light activities such as walking, stretching, or even doing light household chores. These small movements encourage your muscles to use some of the glucose from your meal, keeping your blood sugar steadier. If you feel you absolutely need to rest, wait at least an hour before lying down and keep naps short, no more than 20 to 30 minutes, to avoid interfering with digestion and blood sugar control. On the opposite end of the spectrum, some people think they can burn off their lunch by jumping into an intense workout immediately afterward. While exercise is one of the best tools for managing diabetes, timing and intensity are critical. Right after eating, your stomach and intestines are working hard to break down food and absorb nutrients. If you suddenly engage in heavy exercise, like lifting weights, running, or doing high-intensity interval training, you force blood flow to shift away from your digestive system and toward your muscles. This not only causes uncomfortable cramping, bloating, and nausea, but it can also throw off your blood sugar in dangerous ways. For some people, glucose may plummet rapidly, especially if they've taken insulin or medication. For others, the stress hormones triggered by intense exercise may actually cause a temporary spike. Doctors recommend waiting at least 60 to 120 minutes after a meal before doing strenuous activity. The best alternative right after lunch is a short, gentle walk of about 10 to 20 minutes. This type of light movement is enough to help your muscles absorb glucose more efficiently without disrupting digestion. Studies show that walking after meals can reduce post-meal glucose spikes by as much as 20 to 30%, which is a huge benefit for people with diabetes. Another behavior that doctors strongly caution against is indulging in sugary drinks or desserts right after a meal. Many people crave something sweet after eating savory food, whether it's a soda, sweetened coffee, milk tea, cookies, or cake. For diabetics, this can be one of the most damaging choices. Your blood sugar is already rising from the carbohydrates in your main meal, and piling on additional sugar right away compounds the effect, causing rapid spikes that overwhelm your body. These spikes don't just make you feel sleepy or irritable. They put enormous stress on your blood vessels, kidneys, and nerves. Over the long term, constant post-meal sugar spikes contribute to complications such as retinopathy, eye damage, neuropathy, nerve pain, and heart disease. Doctors recommend that if you truly want something sweet, plan it carefully as part of your meal in moderation instead of adding it on top as an afterthought. For example, a small serving of fruit eaten along with lunch or a yogurt sweetened with berries can satisfy a craving without sending your glucose soaring. It's all about timing and moderation. Avoiding the reflex of grabbing sweets right after a meal is one of the simplest but most effective steps you can take for your health. Hydration is another area where many people make mistakes without realizing it. While water is essential for health, drinking large amounts of it immediately after a meal is not recommended, especially for people with diabetes. Doctors explain that overloading your stomach with fluids right after eating dilutes digestive enzymes and stomach acids, making it harder for your body to break down food efficiently. This can delay digestion, leading to slower but often higher glucose spikes later on. It may also cause bloating and discomfort, which can make it harder to gauge whether your blood sugar changes are due to food or digestive issues. Instead of drinking a lot at once, it's better to sip water moderately during your meal, just enough to stay comfortable, and then spread out your fluid intake throughout the day. This ensures that your digestion proceeds smoothly and your blood sugar rises in a more predictable way. For diabetics, consistency is key, and even something as simple as when and how you drink water can make a difference in maintaining stable glucose levels. Another common mistake, especially for people who work at desks or spend time on computers, is sitting still for long periods after lunch. Sitting for hours after eating allows glucose to remain in your bloodstream instead of being absorbed by your muscles, which increases the likelihood of high post-meal blood sugar readings. Over time, this habit can contribute to insulin resistance, making your body less effective at using the insulin you produce or inject. Research has shown that prolonged sitting after meals can worsen obesity, fatty liver disease, and cardiovascular problems, all conditions that are more serious in diabetics. Doctors encourage patients to avoid staying glued to a chair or couch after eating. Instead, even short bouts of movement can help. For example, standing up and stretching, walking around your office, or doing simple household tasks like tidying up are all effective ways to get your muscles moving and lower your blood sugar. It's not about breaking a sweat, it's about breaking up periods of inactivity so that your body has a chance to use the glucose in your bloodstream. Smoking is another behavior that doctors warn against strongly, and lighting up after lunch makes the situation even worse. For diabetics, smoking is particularly dangerous because it damages blood vessels, raises blood pressure, and reduces circulation. When you smoke after eating, nicotine constricts blood vessels at the very time your body needs to deliver glucose and nutrients to cells. This not only interferes with insulin's ability to work properly, but also causes glucose to build up in the bloodstream. Over the long term, this greatly increases the risk of heart attacks, strokes, nerve damage, kidney failure, and amputations. In fact, studies show that diabetics who smoke face far higher complication rates than those who don't. Doctors universally recommend quitting smoking altogether, but if quitting feels overwhelming, at the very least avoid smoking around mealtimes. This small step can reduce the immediate strain on your blood sugar and circulation while you work toward quitting completely. Caffeine is another factor that requires careful attention. Many people enjoy a cup of coffee or tea right after lunch to stay alert for the afternoon. However, for diabetics, this habit can interfere with blood sugar control. Caffeine stimulates the release of stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, which can temporarily raise blood sugar by signaling the liver to release more glucose. For some individuals, this effect is mild, but for others, it can lead to stubbornly high readings even if their meal was balanced. The problem is compounded when caffeinated drinks are sweetened with sugar, flavored syrups, or creamers, all of which add extra carbohydrates. Drinking coffee right after lunch may also mask the natural drowsiness caused by rising glucose, making it harder for you to recognize when your blood sugar is climbing or dropping. Doctors advise limiting caffeine to earlier in the day and avoiding high-sugar versions of caffeinated drinks. Herbal teas, water, or even a short walk can provide an energy boost without the side effects that caffeine and sugar bring. Another subtle but damaging behavior is grazing on snacks right after finishing lunch. Some people feel that their meal didn't quite satisfy them and immediately reach for chips, crackers, or biscuits to fill the gap. This habit stretches out the post-meal glucose spike and keeps blood sugar elevated for hours. For diabetics, this can make medication or insulin less effective, as the body is constantly processing new glucose without a break. Over time, this not only worsens blood sugar control, but also increases cravings, appetite, and the risk of weight gain. Doctors suggest spacing meals and snacks by at least 2 to 3 hours to give your body time to process one set of nutrients before introducing another. If you still feel hungry soon after lunch, it may indicate that your meal lacked enough fiber, protein, or healthy fats. Adjusting your meal composition to include more of these satisfying nutrients is far better than adding extra snacks afterward. Finally, stress is a powerful factor that often goes unnoticed in diabetes management. After lunch, many people dive straight back into stressful work, rush into errands, or face emotional challenges. Stress triggers the release of hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, which directly raise blood sugar levels by stimulating the liver to release more glucose. This means that even if you ate a balanced meal, your glucose can rise higher than expected simply because of stress. Chronic stress after meals makes it harder to predict and control blood sugar levels, leading to frustration and an increased risk of complications. Doctors recommend building short relaxation practices into your routine after lunch. This could be something as simple as deep breathing exercises, stretching at your desk, listening to calming music, or taking a mindful walk. Even 5 to 10 minutes of relaxation can lower stress hormone levels and help your body manage glucose more effectively. Managing mental health is just as essential as managing diet and exercise in diabetes care. In conclusion, what you do in the period after lunch is just as critical as the meal itself when it comes to managing diabetes. Doctors consistently warn against habits like lying down immediately, doing heavy exercise too soon, consuming sugary desserts or beverages, drinking too much water at once, sitting still for hours, smoking, relying on caffeine right after eating, grazing on snacks, or jumping straight into stressful situations. Each of these seemingly small actions can disrupt digestion, raise blood sugar levels, or make your body less responsive to insulin. The problem is not just about how you feel in the moment, it's about how these repeated patterns can slowly chip away at your long-term health, leading to complications such as heart disease, nerve damage, kidney problems, and vision issues. The good news is that you don't need to make drastic changes to see real improvements. Managing diabetes is about awareness and consistency. By becoming intentional not just about what you eat, but also about what you do afterward, you take control of your health in a very practical way. Lunch is not just a meal, it's a turning point in your day, and the choices you make after it can either strengthen or weaken your ability to keep diabetes under control. So the next time you finish your lunch, remember the advice doctors give. Avoid the pitfalls, embrace the healthier alternatives, and give your body the support it needs. In doing so, you're not just managing diabetes. You're building a lifestyle that protects your future health, keeps your energy steady, and allows you to live fully and confidently despite the condition.